good question. By the way, you are such a good interviewer. All of your questions are solid questions.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I've done a few interviews, but your questions are just really unique.
I've had my fair share of like, is that a cell phone? And then I have to come back into my world.
And I always start my songwriting with lyrics.
Here I have over 200 people to feed almost solely, you know.
And show the graphic images of those children.
Mm-hmm.
God, yes!
That's exactly it.
Yes!
I feel like we've all had this experience.
Everyone's gonna get the picture or they're not. So everyone was really, really nice.
And I wanted to do something a bit more direct. And the first attempt at that was a game.
Susanna, do you want to do a documentary? And she's like, yes. I'm like, great, here you go.
Wow.
You know, we should not do this. That's such a nice ass.
Guys my age are really inexperienced.
I swear I've traded my addiction for nicotine for sex.
Sex?
Yes.
Oh, come on now. Can't survive off one jug for an entire week.
I really don't think you should be doing that.
Daniel, you are being really paranoid right now, okay?
Fucking houseplant!
Wait, Daniel! Oh!
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I'm Mark Sugiyama from Eclectic Arts Media, based here in Seattle, Washington. And thank you so much for joining me on this Tuesday, the 11th of April, 2023. And I'd like to thank Annalise Harlan, who last joined me 2 Fridays ago. It's really great having Annalise on. And for those that have been asking, it looks like she will be coming back, but in a different format. And I have another guest and potentially a third guest. So for you old school supporters of what I've been doing, you know what that means when there's 3 guests that come back. So that should be maybe at the end of April as I'm looking through schedules with everybody. So fingers crossed that happens. And if this is your first time joining me on my YouTube channel, if you could do me a huge favor and please hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell. And if you're on the Twitch side of things, if you could follow me over there, I will follow you back. And yeah, I just also want to mention that if you want to know any kind of details of what I have coming up, everything is posted first on my Instagram account, which is Eclectic Arts Media, one word, and then some of that information migrates over to other social media platforms. And I definitely don't want to forget, which I did 2 Fridays ago, I want to thank my donors. I haven't, quite honestly, in full transparency, I have not had too many donations in the last 6 months. But I just got to about 2 weeks ago. And so I want to thank Janet and I want to thank Milo for supporting what I do. That money goes right back into the streaming service because I pay for it every month. I've had a few people ask me about, can I get 4K for my streams and my interviews that I do? I can improve the video quality, but it's going to mean doubling the money that's owed every month. So if you really want it, you can PayPal me that money and it goes right back into, again, me just basically being able to improve what you see and hear. And if you want to ask my guests of any time today or any of the live streams I have down the road, a question or comment, you can put it into the chat. So again, join the YouTube channel, join the Twitch channel, and just be aware that I'm the only one that sees those questions and comments, and I will pepper them into the conversation as we go. Sometimes I'll actually literally press the button and put it up on the screen so my guests can see it, but they don't see what you're saying, good, bad, indifferent. I'm the one who sees all that. So just let everybody know. And I see something just came in already. And all right, so I thank you, Michael, for joining us. And yeah, let's get to things you don't want to hear from me. My guest today is an award-winning performer in the adult industry. She has worked with many of the top companies over the years. In 2023, she took home not 1, but 2 AVN Awards for Best Virtual Reality Sex Scene and Best Oral Sex Scene. It is my great pleasure to welcome to the Eclectic Arts Media Virtual Studio, Miss Laney Grey.
Hello!
Hi, Laney. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. It's so wonderful to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Of course, of course.
Yeah, and so I want to kind of talk with about things that are presently going on, and we kind of work our way back, and we were talking pre-show. We're both kind of random-minded people, so we'll see where this kind of goes.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that was kind of interesting, through your publicist, the wonderful Erica, that she mentioned that you had just worked with Stormy Daniels.
Yes.
Who's been making the news again because of what's been going on politically, which we won't necessarily get into. But how was that experience working with her, and what kind of film did you do?
We shot so working with Stormy was just amazing. I love her so much. She's a really, really sweet, down-to-earth person. Like once you get to know her, she had this entire vision. She like wrote the script, she directed it, starred in it. The movie is I think it's called Lawless. It's like a modern day Western. And I think it's for Adam and Eve, or it might be for Wicked. I've heard both. So I'm not sure if it's for Adam and Eve or for Wicked, but it's for either one of the two. And yeah, like I got to play her daughter in the script. And it was really just a very challenging role. Like I've never worked on anything that big before. I've never had to memorize like 60 pages worth of dialogue. Like it was a very big, like I flew to Florida for a week. I shot there for a week, shot back in LA for another day. It was just like long hours, but so worth it to like we were looking at the footage, on set, and it just looks so good. Like I'm so excited for it to come out. I have 2 sex scenes in there too, which is, if you want to watch me, bang, that's it's like both sides. Like, I got to really get into my like acting side. Like I love to act and play different characters, and I also got to have sex and in places that I've never had sex before. So yeah, it was really, really fun.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack there. So
yeah.
So I guess the first thing for me off the top of my head is, do you know how did you get involved with that particular film? Were you handpicked? Was it something you did in kind of audition process, or did you kind of already know her? So she said, hey, I want you to come do my film, or how did that come to be?
So the funny thing is her husband is a guy named Barrett Blade, and he's been in the industry for, God, I don't even know how many years. He's in the Hall of Fame. Like he had this website called Bad Daddy, and it was kind of like a content trade / you get paid a little bit and then you get to keep the content. He'd edit it for you and everything. And that stuff always sold really well for me. So we shot together like 2 or 3 times. He's also a cameraman for a crew for, I think, Adult Time, like Gamma. Like he works on the crew side. He was a performer, and I think he just mostly does like behind the camera work now. And him and I were talking, I want to say like last summer, and how I was telling him like I really want to do like a big thing. Like I want to explore like my acting capabilities and challenge myself. Like I love shooting just like normal everyday porn scenes. Like that's also really fun, but it'd be really cool to be involved in something a lot bigger. And he told me like, yeah, like I'll keep you in my mind. Like Stormy is my wife, and we're, we shoot with Wicked and we shoot with Adam and Eve. And so like, I will definitely keep you in mind. And I just kind of thought that it was, like a lot of people give empty promises in this industry. And I wanted to believe it, but I was also like, there's a lot of amazing, talented people. So I probably am not going to get picked. But I think it was back in February, Stormy, like my agents were like, hey, like, can you ride horses? Like, have you ever rode a horse before? And I'm like, no, I've never rode a horse before. But like, I mean, when I was a kid, I rode like a pony, but I've never been on a real horse, but I'd be down to do it. And they were like, okay. And then a couple weeks later, they told me like, hey, Stormy wants to talk to you about this movie. Like, you have to go to Florida for a week. It's this big thing. Like, do you want to do it? And so I didn't really audition. She picked me because Barrett recommended me, and Stormy said that she asked like my agents, she asked other directors, and they all said good things about me, which just really like made me feel good, because I like being a good, happy vibe on set. I like to keep things happy and good, and I don't want to make it hard on anybody. So the fact that I got recommended, it just made me feel really nice. But yeah, so like I got her number from my agents, and we talked on the phone, and she was basically like, hey, I need you to make a decision like by tomorrow. Like I need to get the plane tickets booked. I need to get everything in order. Like I want you to do this for me. Here's the script. I told her like I kind of need to think about it. Like I've never been to Florida. I've never been away from my partner for that long. Like it was a big commitment, and I was just like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like, Stormy Daniels wants me to be in her movie. Like, she wants me. And I called her the next day. I was like, yes, I want to fucking do it. Like, let's do this. But yeah, like, it was, I feel very lucky that I didn't have to really like audition or anything. It was just kind of like, she knew that she wanted me. Like, I had like the girl next door look, like the Western, I could be like a country girl, you know? And I guess like she just, I don't know. It was just really, it was cool. It was, I hope that made sense.
Absolutely. No, what's wonderful about that is that it's really validating that the way you've been conducting your business on set all of these years, that you have a good reputation. And then
that's the word, validating.
Yep. That reputation helped get you this gig, basically, from, someone that you worked with who said good things for her husband, and then she wanted to talk to you, and then she did her homework and her due diligence, and that's wonderful. I love that type of thing when it happens. So you're like, because sometimes you kind of wonder, like, am I doing things right? I think I am in my head, but then when something like this happens, you say, oh no, this is concrete proof that I'm doing it right.
Yeah, it's hard not to wonder, like, am I ever gonna get a chance? Like, I know that the competition, I hate using that word, but it sometimes it is a little competitive for the roles, and it's always like they give it to someone else, and I'm always kind of in the background. And not that I don't mind, I know my time is gonna come, and that was it. Like, Stormy gave me that shot, and I had my chance to, do what I wanted. And yeah, it was just like the universe kind of put it into place for me. Yeah.
That's a perfect way to put it. When you kind of I believe in manifestation. When you put good things out, that they do come back to you.
Yes.
And I remember, again, not to talk about myself too much, but I was trying so long to try to get Jeff Bridges as an interview. And I mean, that's like pie in the sky stuff. I mean, it's like, that's the dude. I mean, but after, back and forth for about 2 years, I did get it.
Oh, yeah.
But it was based on other things I had done, because they absolutely did their due diligence about who is this guy, because I'm not, Time or Newsweek or Variety or anything like that. I'm a freelance person. But
you still put in the work, and you got your reputation.
Yeah, and then that becomes the next level, just like for yourself. You kind of find other things that kind of open up other doors for you as well. And it's like, man, this is how you. I keep telling people, it doesn't matter if you're doing music or porn or you're an athlete. You're building your brand is what you're doing. Whether you like it or not, people are looking at you that way, and that's the foundation you're working from. So try to do it, as right as you can. I mean, you're going to have missteps, everybody does, but your intention should be right. And clearly yours is. And I want to say hi, DT. Thanks for joining us. And it's great that you're new to the channel based on another interview I had done. Okay, great. So welcome. He's over DT. I shouldn't say he. It could be a she or a non-binary. Is in the UK.
No, nice. Hell yeah.
And Laney, I have a question too. So we're working on. I assume this is a feature since she has 60 pages of dialogue.
Yes.
Imagine a Gonzo having 60 pages of dialogue.
Oh my god.
You're like, it's like, what are we doing? Are we just trying to shoot a sex scene here? What's going on with all this dialogue? What's been your process to try to get into that space of what actors do in terms of memorizing literally pages of dialogue? How do you do that?
Oh man, so I'm more of like I go back and forth between like auditory and visual learning. Like I think like I can memorize songs really easily. So I go and I like try to read it all out and record it, and then I just listen to it over and over again. My fiance taught me that. He's just amazing. But like I listen to it just repeatedly over and over and over again until I pretty much have it memorized. And I read the script, I check back, I look at the script to look at all the different stage directions, or not stage directions, but like camera directions and like actions that you would do. Like if it says she crosses her arms, or she looks away, or she sits down, or she stands up, like I try and get all that in. And I'll even like walk around my room and kind of act it out. Like if it says, like I'm sitting down, I'll sit down and like look and try and like kind of method act a little bit, I guess, like in a way. Like on set, like there were like a lot of parts where I needed to like cry and pull out these deep emotions, like get angry, get mad. Like I had to kind of put myself in that situation. Like if I was this person and I was in the situation, like how would I react? How would I, like, I try to make it, I guess, method acting, right? Isn't that what method acting is? You try and like make yourself that person, I guess, in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, you become that character.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I try to do that, but only like when the cameras are rolling. I'm not like it all the time. Just a little bit of method acting. But yeah, like I just try and just memorize it over and over and over again.
That's amazing. And you know, it doesn't surprise me how good you are as an actor, because some of the feature stuff that I've watched, and I told you pre-show that I review films and film festivals and streaming service things, and theater actors. So it stands out to me when someone looks like they have something to work with, and you definitely do. And I think that's something that I think a lot of people just don't necessarily associate with pornography. Especially people on the outside of the realm of it. They have one thing in their head of what they think it is, and they don't realize there's all these other facets to it. And it's like, if you actually opened your mind just for a second and took a look around, it's like, oh, this is so much other stuff going on that I didn't realize it was under that umbrella of pornography.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, is that something that's acting, has it come naturally to you, or is that also something that you just start kind of trying to observe and mimic things that you watch your favorite TV show or your films or people around you?
I mean, I think dancing had, like, my dance background helped me with acting, because we would do recitals every year, and when I got to be older, I had like a specific role that I had to play. And when you can't talk and you have to just emote with your body, I think that kind of helped lay a little bit of a foundation for me acting wise. I also did like a little bit of theater in high school. Like I took acting classes in high school. They weren't like anything like crazy, but I still did learn like a few things. Like taking a breath, taking a pause, like different things that you can add into just like the character, I guess. I kind of did study it a little bit in high school. But I guess I've always really liked acting. I've been like a movie fanatic. I love watching movies, watching TV shows. Like I'll watch the same TV show like over and over and over again if I really like it. And just like I do it. I am very observant. I think when I watch TV, especially now that I like kind of know the BTS side, like I know what it's like to make a porno. So I guess it's kind of similar when you're making a TV show, like you have the lines and the camera switches and all that stuff. And I feel like I just have always really wanted to do it and wanted to learn more. So I think I haven't really, I don't know. I think I can still, of course, like get so much. I can learn so much still. Like I don't know everything about acting. I don't think I ever will. But I do think that like dancing and theater classes did kind of help me. And then my fiance Brad also, he was an actor like before he was in porn. So he also is very wise and teaches me a lot of things like, that I wouldn't have otherwise if I didn't meet him. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So you had a foundation already, and it's just kind of different bits and pieces of things that kind of brought you to where you're at. And like you said, you can always add more pieces to it as you keep doing more features and more things. Okay. There's definitely some other things you just said that I want to get to, but I want to stay with the feature before I get to those other things, provided I don't forget them. So working on a feature like that, like you said, you're in Florida for a week, you've got 60 pages of dialogue, you're doing 2 sex scenes, you're working with Stormy Daniels. So was there a point when you're doing the filming of any part of that film where you're just kind of like almost like pinching yourself, like it's a little surreal that you're actually there on that level of set doing that kind of work?
Yes, it was. It definitely, like, I had a moment like packing my bag like the night before, like, holy shit, I'm really going to Florida. Like, I'm really gonna go do this. Like, holy shit. And when I got there, Barrett and I we had a little bit of a moment, like, where I was like, dude, like, you really, like, you came through for me. Like, you told me you were gonna keep me in mind, and you did, and you fucking, like, I really appreciate that. And he just was like, you know what? He told me that he wanted to give me a chance. Like, he he wanted to give me this opportunity, and that felt really, really sweet. Like, I just like, I was really, really appreciative, and like, pinching myself the whole time. Like, holy shit, like, this is what I want to do. Like, camp out and make a fucking movie. Like, this is so cool. I love it. I just felt like at peace, and like I'd wake up every day like excited to shoot. Like, even though they were really long days, like we didn't really finish until like 4 in the morning every day. So it was a lot. It was a lot on my body. It was a lot on my mind, but it was, it just felt so fucking amazing. Like, I'm really happy.
Well, I'm really excited that you got the opportunity to do this, and it made you so happy. And now you're going to be like, I think for most people, you got that taste of what it could be like, and it was in your head, but now you actually saw it and did it. So it's going to be, I want more of it. How do I get more of these?
Yes, that's exactly right. I'm like, I want to do more features. I want to do more like big like movies. I want to even try mainstream. I think would be really cool if I ever had an opportunity to do that. I would love to just try it,
Yeah. I was talking with another guest, like I think about a month ago, also in the adult industry, and we were talking about how there was definitely a period where you'd see adult actors moving into like, say, like especially music videos, like back in the 80s and 90s. But then you start seeing them starting to show up in other more mainstream film pieces or in the background on HBO Max shows and that kind of thing. And it's like, so when is it going to become more of like they're actually in, like the ensemble of the cast, and and they're not going to get blackballed because of what they do or what they're known for, that they're going to be, just given this opportunity to show what they got based strictly on what they can do for this project. And it seems like I would think we're kind of heading that way, because the stigma on porn is not what it was like when I was growing up like in the 80s. I'm really old. So and with your interest and your already foundational background, it seems like you would make a really good candidate for that type of thing. Plus your age, you're like in your 20s still. So if they're going to pick something, and you do it, everybody knows this who's watching this, you have a real girl next door look.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you have a nice energy to you now as we're talking as well, and I'm a big energy person.
Me too.
And you just talked about it earlier, and you have a good reputation in the industry that you're in, so that could potentially carry you over to another industry that.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, because if you had a bad reputation, they wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole unless you really stood out for some reason. But
yeah, that's true.
You've got all these things going for you. So we'll see what happens, I suppose, in the future with that.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah. And I think some people out there know that when you film a scene, or in this case, a film, sometimes they can turn it around pretty quickly, and other times it takes a while for all the post work and everything, all the editing that they have to do. Do you have any idea, like a ballpark, when this thing might be coming out?
I wish I did. I'd hope to say maybe by the summer, maybe. I have no idea though. It might come out next year. It might come out in the fall. But I think there is a lot of post-production that's going to have to happen. A lot of editing, all the different camera angles, things like that. So I think it's going to take a little bit of time,
Okay.
Unfortunately.
We'll just have to keep staying current with your socials and anything else that you have out there, so we know, like, hey, remember when I talked about when I was in Florida filming this? It's coming out on this date now.
Yeah.
Cool. And as I mentioned in my introduction, you won 2 AVN Awards this year. Congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, what was that whole experience like in terms of this year, in terms of going out there twice and for award winning?
Oh man, it was crazy. I mean, the VR scene was just announced at the end, so I didn't get to go up on stage. But for the oral scene, it was the first award that they announced that night. So I wasn't expecting, like it to be the first one, let alone to actually go up as the first person to go up on stage. Like I had a little sippy of some alcohol. I wasn't like tipsy or drunk or anything like that. I think the nerves were just so intense, and I was wearing a very tight dress, like all the way down past my knees. So I did kind of trip on the stairs a little bit, but I caught myself. I had a little bit of a Jennifer Lawrence moment, but not as bad. Like I didn't face plant or anything, but I do remember that was a little embarrassing. But you know what? It's okay. I had to. I literally like I couldn't see. I felt like I had like tunnel vision almost. Like I was vibrating, like shaking. I was so nervous. Like I looked out into the audience and I saw like people I knew and my colleagues, and everyone was like looking up and smiling at me. And I got to be on stage with Mick Blue. Like even just working with him was amazing, but getting to like accept an award with him together was just so incredible. Like just being like recognized by AVN, like I still can't believe it. Like it's so insane to me. Like I have imposter syndrome a lot where I'm like, am I really, like I just kind of feel mediocre a lot. And just the fact that I won that award, like it just, yeah, it was very validating where I'm like, man, maybe I am doing something right, or maybe, I'm not doing it wrong like I think I am. But it was, yeah, like the high was, yeah, it was just crazy. I felt, yeah, like I had a little tiny speech that I'm like, maybe I should think of something to say just in case. Because I'm like, I'm probably not going to win, but just in case, like, I don't want to go up there and like sound stupid. And that's exactly what I think I did. I totally forgot everything. I just was like, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, bye. Like it was a little cringy, but yeah, I still can't believe it. Yeah.
Well, what I think is great though when award winners get up and they have those kind of moments, but it's overwhelming. I mean, it's emotionally overwhelming. Like you said, you can't believe it. If you have imposter syndrome, it's like, am I really, where am I in this whole scheme of things in this industry? And then this happens. I think it's so much, I actually like that better because it's just so much more real when instead of being completely composed and, oh, why, thank you so much. And because to me, it's like, I mean, they, inside they've got to be going, oh my God.
Right. Yeah. Like just be real. If you want to scream and shout, like do it, Yeah.
Like I remember back when Cuba Gooding Jr. won for Jerry Maguire back at the Oscars, and he was yelling around and stuff, and people thought he was crazy, but it's like, no, that's what I'd rather see. Whatever your emotion is, let it out.
Exactly right. Like you worked so hard. It's like I remember going into that scene, like thinking, okay, did it cut out? Am I still good?
It's kind of pixelating a little bit for some reason on your end.
Oh man.
So is
it better?
It's better now. I was kind of going in and out for the last minute or so. So I don't know if you have anything else that's pulling from your internet or anything, or someone's watching a movie or anything inside.
No, I'm not. I can try and connect to an Ethernet cable if that would.
We can try it. So I'll talk with everybody.
Okay, let me go put that in really quick. Yeah, you want me to do it?
Sure.
Okay, I'll be back.
Okay.
I think it would help. Let me plug this in.
Yeah, so as Laney's doing that, I see Michael, you said that you met her at AVN and she was a sweetheart, so that's awesome. You got a chance to meet Laney as she's seeing if we can get the internet connection a little stronger than it was. That's awesome. And again, anybody out there that's watching, because I see we have people watching, if you want to ask a question or comment, just join the YouTube channel, or if you're on Twitch, and you can ask away. I'll see these through here, and sometimes I can do like this. I can put it on the screen like Michael's comment, or I can take it off, and be happy to kind of get these things going. And if you're catching this down the road, as most people know, I don't edit out anything in my live streams unless it's a copyright infringement or something. So what's said is what's said, and it just stays that way from all the guests and everything. So there she is. Laney is back, and we'll see if this is gonna work for us, or maybe it's just the internet being the internet.
All right.
But right now it seems like it's pretty good. I can see and hear you. Yeah, definitely cleared some things up.
Sweet.
So you must have been riding a high when you had to go back to your seat then, since you were at the first award.
Yeah, it was. I felt like, I don't even know. It was, yeah, just incredible.
That's great. And so I think there was something else that I wanted to mention, that you recently appeared on Naked News. You had an interview, and so what was that experience like?
That was really fun. It was nice to just like have my boobs out and just have a nice little conversation. I enjoyed speaking. I don't remember her name. Unfortunately, I'm horrible with names, but it was great just to have. It was a good conversation. Like, they were good questions. I felt like, I didn't feel uncomfortable or exposed. Like I was like a little bit like, like they want me to interview without a top on. Okay, this was different, but I enjoyed it. It was really great.
Okay. Oh, and like we were talking earlier too, that you can kind of tell from any type of interview situation when somebody's intention is maybe not the best intention, when like they're trying to get clickbait stuff from you, or maybe they don't like what you do, so they're trying to sing you, but they got this sign thing. So it's great when you can tell it's like, that's not what this is. It's like, I want every guest hopefully to come across the best possible way, because I don't understand why you wouldn't want them to enjoy their time, and for the people that are watching or reading. So it's like, what's wrong with you? And I started off all this media stuff with doing interviews. That's the main thing that I started with, and all the photography and all the other reviews came later. So I've definitely been around my fair share when you got to sit in a room. Okay, now it's your turn. And you're like, why are you doing this? The questions, and then they made me cringe. I mean, just listening to them, like,
yes.
Oh my gosh. And see, Andreas is saying Laney forever. So you have another fan. That's
thank you. How y'all doing?
So let's kind of go back to some things that you were saying. We were talking pre-show that that you have a dance background, and it's pretty extensive because it wasn't just ballet. You're probably doing jazz, tap, maybe lyrical things like hip hop.
Yes, all of it.
Okay, so was that something that parents put you into lessons earlier? Something you want to do? You're just always dancing around as a little kid. How did that come to be?
Yeah, I've always, like, my mom was a dancer, so I came out of the womb like dancing around. Like, I had this little Hello Kitty radio that I would dance to and like just bounce around. So when I was like 3 years old, my mom put me in a dance class, like at like the YMCA or something like that, and I didn't really get serious about it. Like I was doing gymnastics too, from like maybe 4 years old to like second grade is when my mom was like, okay, you're doing dance and you're doing gymnastics, you have to pick one. And so I picked ballet, and ballet was like my main study, but I did do like jazz, tap, lyrical, hip hop. I even studied like different types of like classical folk. Like we would study like Russian, like different like Latin, places just from all over the world, like their classical dancing, and we would study and like learn their dances. It was really cool. Like I was in the studio pretty much from the time that school was over until like 9 o'clock at night, and then I'd have to go home, do my homework, go to bed, and do it all again the next day. But yeah, like it was just so I loved it so much. I really got serious probably like when I was like 12 years old is when I was excuse me, like really seriously considering having a career in some sort of, like a choreographer, like music videos, backup dancing, things like that. Like I wanted to go to Juilliard and like study there. Yeah, I got on point when I was in like 8th or 9th grade, I want to say.
Okay.
And that was when like I just was like, yeah, in the studio, even during the summertime, like we would have summertime intensives and I would be in the studio all fucking day, like 10 hours, 12 hours, just dancing. And it was like the best fucking memories that I had like in my childhood were at the dance studio. Like I had so many amazing friends there. My ballet teacher who owned the studio, my parents really did not like her at all. She was very, I guess, old-fashioned. So she was always praising the skinny, mini, little tiny girls. And me, however, like, when I was going through puberty, I was a little chubby. And my dance teacher just fucking hated that. She would always like pinch my arms or pinch my sides and tell me like, hey, did you have that cookie today? Let me see what your snacks are for in between classes. And she would come out and like judge all of our snacks and tell me like, you know, just really horrible things about eating, and it really didn't help me as a young teenager. So I ended up having to quit because it just was like my mental health was just like pew, you know. So I appreciated all the time that I had in ballet and in jazz and tap and lyrical and contemporary and just all the teachers and friends that, but I thought it was, if I kept doing it, I was not going to end up in a good place, you know. And it's a very common thing for dancers, like, to develop eating disorders and to, you know, just have body dysmorphia and feel really shitty about themselves. And so I ended up having to let it go. But I still would love to take classes now, because I think that it's gotten a lot more inclusive and people are kind of like, fuck that whole thing. Like, you can be a dancer and not be 90 pounds. Like, you don't have to. And so that is like, what? Like, really? I can do it? So yeah, maybe in the future I'll try and start taking classes again. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you know, and you're right. I've had a chance, as I mentioned pre-show, to interview a few professional ballet dancers here, some also professional dancers outside of ballet. And I think one thing for people that maybe that don't, you know, like ballet or don't follow it, is that the best thing when it was explained to me early on why these dancers was that Mark view us as athletes, because that's what we are. And so we have injuries, we have to make sacrifices, especially with ballet, because it's all year round. You don't have ballet season. You constantly do it. And just as Laney said, in the studio for 9 or 10 hours a day, you don't have a social life. You don't really know anybody outside of the studio. And when you're a student, it becomes like, how do we balance this? Because you don't have enough time in the day to do, you know, studying and dance and try to get some sleep and maybe eat something somewhere. It was really, really eye-opening hearing the kind of struggles that those two, they're now married dancers went through. And so when I see them on stage, I'm like, now I know all the backstory of like what it took for them to get there and to maintain, to keep staying there.
Yes, it's a lot. It really is.
Because I think people just see, well, there's someone on their tippy toes and they're just kind of just flipping around in a tutu. And it's like, no. It's that whole thing, like, you know, a professional makes the difficult look easy. And
exactly.
that's exactly what dancers do.
Striving for perfection. Yeah.
You're right. And I think things are getting a little bit better in terms of how dancers are viewed, so that there's definitely more muscular dancers now that do have more weight on them. They're not the traditional bean poles, you know, 80 pounds and 5'6" or whatever. And that's great. And you're seeing people of color in there as well now too. You just don't see much of that. So it's
sorry to interrupt you. I just
no, go ahead. You're the guest.
You're good. I was just gonna say, like, it's great to see where it's going, like seeing all different kinds of people doing it. And I truly believe, like, sometimes you have to suffer for the art, you know, like, and in ballet and in dance, like, it's exactly like what you were saying, like, it's so incredibly difficult and all the hours of training, but you do it because you love it. Like, that's the thing. You
know, you said that well, because I think about Eclectic Arts started with a lot of music, because I'm a musician, so interviewing bands, and you'll find out real quick if you're an up-and-coming band, you cram yourself into, you know, a 15-passenger van with all your gear and 5 band members, and you're driving 300 miles between gigs, and you got paid $30. How bad do you want this?
Right.
It'll weed your ass out quick. You know, you're not Beyonce. You're not going to be flying to gigs and staying in, you know, 4 or 5-star hotels. No, you're going to be eating at a truck stop, like a cold burrito, and trying to get to the next town. It's like, it's rough. And you're right. I think every art realm has that level of. So here's some tests for you, and let's see, are you going to stick around? Okay, here's another test for you, and make sure that you really want it. That's crazy stuff. But and DJ Don the One is saying that you know, I'll put this on the screen, Laney, so you can just see this one, because that's a really nice comment.
Aww, DJ Don the One, thank you so much. That's so sweet. Aww.
Yeah, and I see some other people are joining. So again, if you'd like to ask a question or a comment of Laney, just put it into the chat, and I will get to it. So please be aware I'm seeing these. That's the conversations going on. I'm not trying to ignore you. Sometimes I don't want to interrupt things as the guest is talking. And yeah, it would make sense, like if you start having that, because it seems like you still have that piece of passion in you to dance, any type of dance.
Yes, on my Instagram story, I'm like doing like little dumb things, just dancing around. Like I love it. I love dancing.
Well, see, and now, and this now maybe I'm kind of jumping ahead, but let me ask this question, then we'll bring in the dance piece. Do you have an interest in like having your own production company in the future and kind of molding your own features and things that your visions in your head that you want to see come out?
I think it would be really amazing to direct and to maybe write a story, because when I was a child and teenager, I did like to write, like stories and poetry, just, like I just love any kind of like expression, like of your thoughts, and whether that be with your body or writing it down. Like, I think it would be really cool to create something, but I just feel like there's such like an oversaturation of content out there that I don't know if I could make anything really like original. And like, I feel like the pressure that I'd put on myself to make something different and like unique in its own way, I think would kind of crush the dreams of it a little bit, I guess. I don't know. It would be cool to do in the future. I won't rule it out, but I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm thinking like when you're talking about your love of dance, that maybe that becomes your niche, or somehow you can incorporate that into adult. And not just the typical, here's the ballerina that's now having a sex scene with a guy or a gal or whatever, but like the actual theme of the film is around dance and different scenarios and telling the story of maybe the down and out dancer that wants they're losing their dream, and here's the other things that happen. I don't know, but I don't know if there's if that could be like you're the arts person, so you have dance related things, or you have acting, film related things in your productions of what you do. Just something off the top of my head.
I like that. No, that's cool.
Yeah, because I can't think of too many that are like specifically about like this is our intention. We want to have dance or arts related pornography. Like this is our thrust of what we're doing. No pun intended, but that's what we want to do. Yeah. Okay. Well, who knows? And so. My understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, is that your work that you're doing now actually dates all the way back to when you're on Tumblr.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, my Tumblr days.
Was that just something you're doing on Tumblr for fun, just shits and giggles, or?
Yeah. Sorry, continue.
Oh, no, so I'm just kind of wondering what got you started with Tumblr, and then I went to camming, then I went to adult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess I just was like, I was about to graduate high school. I was already 18, but I had my Tumblr blog, and I never really posted anything on it, but Tumblr did. It was kind of like my little secret guilty pleasure, like all the porn and like the different like kinks and things that were on Tumblr. I would go on there and just like endlessly scroll and reblog and just like, oh, I loved like sex. Like I was just this dumb little virgin. Like I had no idea actually about anything, but Tumblr did really open my eyes to sex work. And when I turned 18, I was kind of like, you know what? Like I'll post my butthole on the internet. Like why not? Like why not? Like I was working at Starbucks, just kind of hating my life a little bit. Like in that in-between period of high school and college, like not really sure what I wanted to do at all. And so I was like, yeah, this is fun. Like I'll post my pussy and my butt and just kind of like anonymously just to see, like, why not? I was lonely and I had a really, really good time just anonymously, like being a little slut on the internet. And like I never intended to make any money off of it. Like I knew that there was like that little community on Tumblr that would be like, they post about like, I have a private Snapchat and I sell customs and I have a ManyVids and all this stuff. And I started to do a little bit of research, and I would get like asks. That's what Tumblr used to call them, like where people could like basically message you and ask you questions in your inbox. And I would get a lot of questions like, do you have a private Snapchat? Do you sell customs? Like, I would love to purchase one from you. And that's the thing about Tumblr, is it was such a, like, Tumblr was, it had people on there that were more willing to commission people. Like, I think it was more of an artist space, whereas Twitter is just more like, give me nudes for free. Same with Instagram. It's like, it's different. Like, Tumblr was so much more like, if you said, hey, I charge for this, they'd be like, oh, that's totally fine. Like, yeah, I'll commission you. That's cool. And that's just not a thing anymore now that Tumblr's died, which is kind of sad. But I was just like, really? Like, I could make it just a random like private Snapchat username, and people started to pay me monthly for this content that I would just make every day. Just like, this is me in my house, like masturbating on my bed, or I go out and, you know, go on a walk and flash my titties out, you know, like just do, you know, fun things that I never intended to actually make money off of. And I really enjoyed creating content. Like I was making customs, I was making just like normal videos. And yeah, I just never really, I didn't even know it existed, but I genuinely enjoyed it. So I'm like, well, why not keep doing research and see like what other ways I can, you know, explore my, explore my sexuality and just explore like the different niches, I guess, of sex work. But yeah, I hope that was a long answer to, sorry about that.
No, that was great. Thank you for sharing that. And it's interesting that that you mentioned that Tumblr was more of an artist community, and that people were willing to understand that this is someone that I'm paying for a service, so I should pay them and not expect something, you know, for free. You know, that mentality is so gone away. And and it's also interesting too that you're just kind of initially doing just your shits and giggles, and then people are starting to send you messages and like, oh, you want to pay me for this? And this is kind of nice. I think the other piece, and you already know this from camming, you still cam, and people are doing OnlyFans, all that stuff nowadays, that you have direct control over what you do. There's not somebody telling you what to do. If you're not comfortable with it, you don't do it. And then also you have this direct interaction with your fans, the people that are paying for what your content. It removes that third person, which is really, really nice. See why that's why so many people do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. It's very rewarding, but it is a lot of work. Yeah.
Yes, and that's the other piece I wanted to kind of bring in, because as somebody, and like you said, you're in your cam room right now, so everything people see in the background and all that. So clearly it's something that you still enjoy doing, but like you just mentioned, it's also a lot of work. Can you kind of speak to the work that goes into what you have to do to keep your cam active, to keep it alive, to keep your fan base there and all that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a little bit of a struggle just because my schedule with shooting porn is so erotic, like, or erotic, I guess that's the word, like, just all over, erratic, there we go. My mind's in the gutter. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, like I guess like I have to first set up all the lights and everything that, you know, like my webcam, my laptop, I have to get it all set up. I mean, if it's like if I'm filming just a little video in my house, I still have to get my makeup on, like get everything set up. Like you have to advertise. Like if I'm going to go live on Cam Soda, like I have to advertise, like I'll go and make a little video. And sometimes just the post to advertise, it'll take me like 20 minutes just to figure out how to make it, like, which do I want to do it standing up? Do I want to do it sitting down? Like, oh, I don't like how that one looks. Let me do it again. So just like the advertising that I'm going live sometimes takes a while too. And then like, if I'm just sitting here while I'm camming, like this isn't as interesting as if I'm like up and moving around and dancing and like, like it's a lot of like mental, like where I'm constantly having to like look at the chat and make sure that I'm not forgetting anybody's things, or like if I have to remember, like I can't just forget people that come into my room. Like I try and remember people who tip a lot, people who come in all the time, like people that they've been coming in my room for years. Like I try and keep up a relationship with them. Like it's not just like a, hey, let's go private, let's fuck. It's like a, hey, how you doing? Like, how's life been? I missed you. Like I try and make it more of like a, not intimate per se, but I guess in a way it is more intimate than just like a surface level interaction. And even just with OnlyFans, and like it's like a 24/7 kind of job. Like I'm always checking messages, and like it's so much, like where sometimes you get overwhelmed and you don't even want to deal with it. But I think like the real fans, I hate using that word, like my supporters, my homies, they understand that sometimes I get a little burnt out, and it's like you just have to communicate with your followers, like make them understand that you're not a robot, like, and that I'm a person. I have a life outside of this. Like I come on and I give my time to you, but it's because I want to. But at the same time, like sometimes I can't do it all, and I think just I don't know, like I want to be genuine and tell my supporters like, hey, like I'm not feeling it today. I can't do it today. Like I can't do your custom, or I'm not doing customs at all anymore because I just can't. Like it's too much for me, or like just being genuine. I think, I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, like it's like keeping up a relationship. You just have to like reach out, and like if you see them come into your cam room, like, hey, what's up? Like, how's it going? Oh my God. You have to like be excited to see them, because I am excited to see my supporters, like whether it's a comment or like them showing up to my room, like it's supporting me, and like it's why I do this, is to create the connection. And yeah, I don't know if that made sense.
It made perfect sense. And I want to say hi to Yvette. Thank you for joining us. And Michael just said, love how real you are, Laney.
Oh, thank you.
And what I like about what you said is it's really great, because I had somebody who reached out to me about maybe like trying to help them with a channel. I explained to them, if we're going to do this, here's all the stuff that's going to happen. So you can't just kind of willy-nilly just, I'm going to do this, and then, oh, I didn't realize how much work this was going to be, and particularly for me. So I'm kind of like, look, I don't want to let's lay this out of what you have to do and how much content and what you're willing to do. And like you said, you want to interact with your supporters, because that's why they support you. And there's going to be days and times, it looked like it kind of froze for a bit. But there's going to be days and times when you just don't feel like doing this kind of thing. And you don't want to be on camera in your room where it's just like, like you're bored as fuck and you don't want to be there, because then they're going to be like, well, I don't want to tip anything in here, because you should just go away then. And
right.
And there's a lot of back and forth of like, I should be doing this and I want to do it, but then today I don't want to do this, but I'm getting pulled like I should do it. And my friend's giving it a hard look right now before she makes that decision about what she actually wants to do. And I said, that's good. Make sure that you're going into this with the right mentality and really ready to work, because that's what it's going to take. And I've got enough stuff on my plate as it is, so I don't want to take this on if it's going to be half-assed.
Right. Yeah. It's good to know, like hindsight's 20/20. Like, yeah, you have to make sure that this is something that you really want to do, because there's no going back for the adult side too. But yeah, even like with your show, like I'm sure that all the setup and like advertising, marketing, like there's so much that goes into being an independent like worker. Like even with porn, like I have my own business, like I have to be like an independent contractor just to get paid, and then all the taxes, like everything, like there's so much that goes into it that people don't even realize. They just look like, yeah, that looks like fun, I want to try it. And it's like, wait, hold on.
Yeah, you're getting one piece of the picture. There's these other pieces here that are just as important that you're not aware of. And yeah, you're right. I mean, even if I'm not tooting my horn or anything, but when people do most live streams or podcasts, they have something in their background, hopefully, but sometimes they don't. So like, I had to make this. I mean, it took some time. it's not just seeing my room in general or something, you know, as a background
Right.
to what we're doing. I want the guests to know who this is and people are watching.
Mhm.
Just obviously pictures of you that were approved
Yeah.
by PR, not just random
Yeah.
things. But yeah, there's all kinds of stuff, and there's the highs and lows of it. And you get, oh, I got that one, I can't wait, that's so great. And then you get a bunch of no's and a bunch you don't hear from, and so it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, like you said, you would definitely know from being an independent contractor in porn, of like, you have to be your own manager, your own accountant, your own everything.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
it's a lot.
When you made the jump from Tumblr to camming to porn, did you start with an agent or did you always start independent?
I started, so I think I did maybe 2 or 3 scenes without an agent just to kind of test the waters a little bit. And then I want to say after like the 3rd scene that I did, it was like the 2nd or 3rd scene that that guy that shot the scene, he knew Sandra, and I was already like thinking of, you know, 8 different agents. Like I tried one agency, it didn't work out, tried another agency, they told me no, and then I was like, okay, well, I really want to find an agent. And so it just kind of fell into place. Like, yeah, like Sandra, I've been with Sandra at OC since 2019. So like I'm very happy with her. But yeah, like it just, sorry, my brain just just had a brain fart. Yes, Sandra, I love her. She's great.
Okay, no, and you just mentioned that one of the agencies, they said no to you.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't like what they were looking for, didn't think they could make money or get you jobs or something? Or?
You know, I don't really know. I've always been a SoCal girl. I've never lived anywhere but Southern California, and very local to LA, even like where porn is shot. Like I was twittering in the DMs, you know, with this one. He's a part of this one agency, and he was like, okay, you got to send in some photos of yourself, like write down on a piece of paper like the date and your name, and you just need one like forwards, profile, backwards, like just send in some pictures. And I sent in the pictures, and once I did, he basically told me like, this guy only wants to rep local girls from LA, and so sorry about that. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I am local to LA. Like, I'm not up in Northern California. What are you talking about? And he was like, oh, well, he's already made up his mind. Sorry. And I'm like, what? I think he was just trying to be nice and make up an excuse. Like, oh, he doesn't want to rep you because you're not local. But he didn't remember that I was local, so it just was a shitty lie. I mean, I kind of wish he would have just been like, yeah, the guy doesn't want to rep you. He thinks you're whack or whatever. You know, like, I don't think that I don't know. But yeah, it didn't work out. And I'm kind of happy that it didn't, because now I'm very happy, you know, that I'm not. Yeah, I just think that I mesh a lot better with Sandra. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things where it really is their loss. You know, they passed on you, and then you got a better agent anyway. So, yeah, no, that.
Yeah, I did.
It's funny how sometimes that stuff works, and we talked about earlier when the universe kind of puts something out to you. I was telling you that I just started a new Muggle job, and the reason I got it is because I knew these guys from almost 10 years ago from a different industry that I was in. So like, oh, hey, Mark, we remember you. So, you know, we definitely want to do the interview with you. So that already gave me a leg up.
Nice.
And it's just like, yeah, because I was almost going to say yes to a couple other positions. And I'm so glad that I didn't, because then this thing came along. So it's a real similar kind of story that you're telling us, what I just had 2 weeks ago.
Oh, shit. Yeah, it's so cool. It's like one door closes, but another one opens.
Yeah. Totally. And I do believe that, like we've been saying, it comes down to how you treat people and how professional you are with what you do, the kind of energy that you put out to people, all that kind of thing. It all comes together. And those people that don't do it, they're the ones that always say, how come I don't get to do it? How come you got to go over there? It's like, well, look at yourself. Look how you're talking about this right now.
Yeah.
Maybe kind of change your tune a little bit, and maybe things will start to open up a little bit more for you.
Yeah.
And so you've been in the industry for a while. I want to say maybe 4 years at least.
Almost. Yeah, this summer will be years.
Okay. Does it feel like it's been almost 4 years, or it feel like now it's just gone by quick, or?
Yeah, it's flown by. I still feel kind of new in a way. Like I feel like I've been in for maybe a year, maybe 2 years, where I'm like, how is it 4 years? Like, what the fuck? It really doesn't feel like, it's been trippy.
So if it doesn't feel like it's been 4 years, then I don't have any plans to change things. Then it's kind of like I'm just going to keep rolling with, opportunities and what I'm doing because I enjoy it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't really see myself doing anything differently. Like I know people ask me all the time, like, oh, when are you going to start doing anal and, all this other stuff. And it's like, I still feel, I still feel new. So I want to like ease my way into things. So I want to have like a long career. I don't want to shoot everything and then be like, okay, what do I do now? And well, it's only been 5 years and now my career is, I have to go somewhere else with it. I don't know. Like I do see, I just want to have like I want to be here for a while, So yeah, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, I guess.
Well, and that's smart also, even from whether it's intentional or not, but it sounds like it is from a business standpoint that, some girls get into the industry and boy, they just do everything at once because maybe they don't know any better and they're getting bad advice. But you want to kind of save certain things so you can kind of build to it. Becomes another milestone that your fans are going to be looking for. Like if it's anal, if it's, multiple partners, if it's whatever fetish things, just kind of know you want to build it. Don't just, here's the whole enchilada and like, okay, what else can you do then?
Yeah. I mean, I hear it a lot of the time. It's from the agents that tell the girls, like, you're missing out on work opportunities if you don't do it now. But I get that side. Like, I have missed out on my first anal, but it's not like I can't still do it in the future. Like, it's still there. I haven't missed out on any opportunities. Not that I believe in. I think it's mostly just like an agent's way of trying to get as much money out of the girl as they can, like, because they're obviously making more money with anal bookings and DP bookings and all these, like, you're doing everything. So yeah, they're going to make a lot more money off of you. And like if you shoot everything, you're like, okay, well, now I'm 22 and my career is like, I just wanted to just start and now it feels like it's over. And I don't think that that's the case for everybody. I know that there's a lot of girls that started doing anal right away and they're still here. They're still shooting all the time. And so it really depends, I think, person to person, because I think some girls, they start and the agents tell them like, hey, you should do it right away. And then they end up not really liking it. And now it's like they have all these anal scenes and people think that they like anal. And it's like, well, no, I don't even really like anal. And so, yeah, you kind of like put yourself in this little box when you didn't even know that you were. So, yeah, there's a lot of things to think about. Like, yeah, it's kind of a little bit, you kind of have to play not a game with porn, but you kind of do. Like, it's a business. You want to like make the right decisions and not screw yourself over, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's a strategy, and like we were talking earlier, it's a brand that you're building. And again, sometimes you don't know any better. So if your agent's telling, hey, you could be making $1,000 more if you did this, or you get another $3,000 over here, and you think, oh, I need the money, or that sounds really good, and then you realize, oh, I just kind of screwed myself, and I didn't even realize it. I had a guest on that was talking about they had done anal really, really early in their career, and it was something they found out they didn't really like it. And so people kept thinking, how come you don't do more? And they kept getting messages about it from fans. It's like, I don't want to do more. It's my personal choice. I'm choosing not to do it. Well, how come? They wouldn't let it go.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is when you get to that. Yeah. You're kind of breaking up a little bit. So that's why I'm not trying to talk over you or trying to interrupt you. It's just like, sometimes.
No, I'm not trying to talk over you either.
Sorry. But it becomes something of like that objectification that some people have. Like, you know, I like you. You're my favorite, you know, top 3 porn stars. So I want you to do these things. It's like they, you know, they have to get up, they eat breakfast, they take a shit, they do all these kind of things. And they might get to a point in their career that I don't really want to do this right now, or maybe I don't want to ever do it at all. And so basically, if you don't like it, then, you know, go kick rocks, and there's plenty of other people to go follow.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. There's so many other people in the industry that can do what you're looking for. You know, like it's yeah.
Yeah, and I want to say hi, Ove. Good to have you back. Ove's over in Norway.
Norway.
Yeah, he started. That was what, almost 2 years ago, right, Ove? With Vexed and the Megan Target interview. But yeah, he's a strong supporter. So he just dropped in, which is about I want to say it's maybe like almost midnight, 11 to maybe midnight over there in Norway. Right now. I used to know the time zones like this when I was doing all these international ones like 2 years ago, and then I haven't been doing that many, so now I forgot. Like, I don't know what is that time difference in South Africa and Japan and all that. Overall, when you think about it, again, this might be really hard for you since you've done so many scenes over almost 4 years. But are certain ones stand out in your memory? Like, wow, I really love that one because of the person you're working with, or the director, or just everything's kind of came together and the synergy and the chemistry. And so that one's always like on the top of your mind. Like, these scenes that I did are just awesome.
Yeah, there are a few that do stand out in my brain that I had a really amazing time shooting. You want me to like go into it a little bit and talk about it?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess like the one that really like I think about all the time is the one with Lily Bell and I that we did for Blacked, because we met back when we were cam girls before we were both in the porn industry, and we went to Vegas and we met and like talked about it, and we were both at the point of our lives where we were both really wanting to be in porn, but we just didn't know how. We were just in situations that just weren't letting us. And we'd talk about it and like manifest like, oh man, it'd be so cool to like shoot scenes with you one day. Like, what if we did like something for Vixen or for Black together? That'd be so cool. And it happened. And I just think about like, man, that moment for us was so surreal, like being on set together and like getting to have that experience together. It was just so amazing. And the scene I love Lily. The chemistry I have with her is like unmatched. So yeah, it was just great. And I mean, I've had a couple of other scenes that like the one I did with Deeper with Troy Francisco and Lena Paul. Like, I love Lena so fucking much. She's such a sweetheart, and Troy was really great. It was such a good, you know, just a good energy to have on set. And like I love Kaden Cross, and I love the stuff that she makes like for Deeper. And just getting to work with her like for that, it was just fucking incredible. Like there's just so many companies that like I was a fan of and just love their art and their what they created, and you know, thinking like, wow, that'd be so cool to shoot for them. And then I do, and then it's just like, wow, it's just so much cooler than I could have ever imagined. And although a lot of the scenes kind of blend together in my brain, there's a couple that it's just like, yeah, like the chemistry or just the fact that I really, really, really wanted to work with that company and I finally did. It's, yeah, like in my brain to just get happy.
Well, that's awesome. That's such like serendipity when you're talking about yourself and Libelle and shooting Black, that scene for Black, because here you were wanting to do this and thinking it and almost like wishing it and daydreaming about it, and then you're on set and you're actually doing it. How many people can say that? Not very many.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, you think about, I want to be on stage with my favorite band, or I want to, you know, go be a part of, you know, your favorite football team or something. It's like, that's probably not going to happen for you, but here you are working on for the company that you are thinking about, both of you, and you had an amazing scene, and they have such great production values on what they do.
They do. It's beautiful, the stuff that they make.
Yeah, and there's another aspect for people out here that just kind of maybe stumbled onto this interview that, you know, if you're not into pornography, but you know, it's kind of hard to find these days.
Like you're lying if you say that you don't watch porn. Like, it's okay. We're not gonna judge you.
Yeah, this is a safe space.
Exactly.
But yeah, there's so many things
Exactly.
that from production values on different different studios, depending on what kind of content they like to shoot, and everything else that goes into it. And I'm also kind of curious, as I've learned from talking to so many adult stars. Do you have a no list?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, it's not very long, but there are a couple people on that list.
Okay. Yeah, and we don't want to name names.
No, I wouldn't.
Just, and for people that are out there that don't understand what that is, it's like if you decide that you, for whatever reason, decide that you don't want to work with somebody else on a future project. So if they're on the on the list where it's like, next person, do you have somebody else that you can book for that shoot?
Yeah, there's a lot of male talent that are really great, and the ones that I've put on my no list were either just because they were an absolute dick and I just could not stand to be around them, or it was a hygiene issue where they just were very, very stanky, and just I didn't want to subject myself to that, feeling again. So, but yeah, like I try and give myself, like, if I have a bad experience with them one time, I'm like, okay, maybe they had a bad day, they just forgot to shower or whatever, like they were in a rush and just whatever. But if it's like 2 or 3 times where I'm like having a really bad time with this person, I'm like, nope, cutting it off. We just don't match. Our vibes just don't interline, whatever the word is, intertwine. We can't coexist without me getting a little bit irritated with you. So I'm just going to say, never again. And it's cool that I can do that being in the industry. Like, I don't think there's really any other industries that you could say that. Like, you could just call up your boss and be like, hey, actually, I really don't like working with this guy. And they'd be like, tough shit. Like, you're like, go find another job. Like, yeah, porn, it's really great that you can do that.
That's a really great point. I never even thought about that there's no other occupation that you have that I can think of where you can tell that, I don't like working with this coworker, so can you remove them and get somebody else, like right now? Or
like if your manager's cool, they might like switch your shifts around, so like you come in when they're leaving, or vice versa, or they work Tuesday, Thursday, and you're working Monday, Wednesday, whatever. Like, but usually it's not really, porn is, I think a lot of people get, like, they lose touch with like reality. Like when we say like porn actors call normal people civilians. Like, I remember having a civilian job and how long it would take me just to make $500. Like, and now I can make so much more than that just in like a single day if I really wanted to. Like, there's so many things about porn that like your schedule, just the fact that you're your own boss, like it makes you kind of lose touch with how a normal everyday people live, I guess. Like it's I feel like I kind of broke out of the system in a way,
I think that sounds kind of nice to a lot of people that are watching this right now, because I think the 9 to 5, you're boxed in.
Mm-hmm.
And
literally,
you're just sitting in your cubicle doing whatever you're doing. But if you're in the adult industry, I'd also say I think a lot of tattooers travel, so they can book guest slots at different studios and just kind of be like a nomad, and kind of keep their own. Especially if they start getting known, because then people want to book them as soon as they get to their town. Hey, I'm going to be doing a stint for the next 2 weeks in New York or whatever at this studio. Make your appointments now before I get there. And it's like, wow, that's so awesome that you can just be in control like that and kind of dictate where you go, what you do, when you do it. Because everyone else, it's the other way around. People are telling you what to do.
Yeah. It's kind of soul sucking in a lot of ways. Like, just having a normal 9 to 5. Like, every time I go out, I'm like dealing with, customer service or a waiter or anyone that's just out living their life and trying to make a living. Like, I why would I ever be rude? Or like, I can't, like, I don't want to say I feel bad, but in a lot of ways, like, what if that person has like dreams and aspirations that they want to do, but they just can't because they're stuck in that box? Like, it just kind of makes me, the tear kind of.
Yeah, no, I can relate to that, because I don't, and again, everyone can do what they want to do, but I don't understand people that do have a muggle job like I do, but then they don't do anything outside of that job. So like, what are your interests? What do you want to pursue? What do you want before the show's over? Because there is a finite amount of time and you don't exactly know what that is. It could be tomorrow that you're no longer here, or it could be, 10, 20, 40 years down the road, depending on how old you are. So it's like, the clock actually is ticking. So what do you want to do? And I've talked to a couple of people where I used to work, and the one person's younger than me, and I'm kind of like, so let me get this straight. When you go home, you do a bunch of chores and then you go to sleep by 8 at night, every night, including the weekend. And it's like, don't you want to like talk to people or go see a movie or whatever your interest is?
Yeah.
And she's like, nope, I got to take care of this stuff. I got to take care of this. And then I feel better if I've taken care of these things. I thought, okay, I understand that to an extent, but that's what, so when you're no longer here, that's what you want to kind of be known for. Like, well, I don't know what she did. She was always in her house cleaning and doing whatever. And that's like, it's a little sad to me. It's like, there's got to be something.
Yeah.
There's got to be something.
It's like everybody has like passions and things that they want to do. Like it's like you want to like leave this earth with no regrets, like of things that you could have done but you didn't. Like I don't even want to think about that. I'm like, let's just do it. Like if you want to do it, like fucking go for it. Like if you really want it and you really want to work for it, the universe will give it to you. Like, yeah, I agree with you. It does make it is kind of sad in a way.
Yeah, I used to tell people to adopt that old Nike slogan of "just do it," and that's really what it is. And again, I'm not trying to. For whatever reason on my end, getting really glitchy. It's getting really glitchy. So sometimes I'm hearing things, and sometimes it's getting delayed. So if I look kind of lost, that's why.
No, you're good.
Okay.
It's happening a little bit on your end too.
Okay.
Just a little tiny bit, but it's all good.
That's really weird. But anybody that's in the chat, if you have anything that you'd like to ask Laney or any kind of comments, please get them in now. So we're kind of getting close to wrapping this up. It was going to be 30 minutes, and now it's coming up to almost an hour and a half, which is awesome because I love it when guests have time to talk with me.
Yeah.
I'm always so grateful. I'm used to doing in-person band interviews, and they're like, you got 10 minutes, and you're in a green room, or you're on a tour bus or whatever, and there's people around you making noise, and it's like, oh my God. And here I'm in my home, and I can be comfortable, and I got a drink with me, and it's like, so if they have the time, I know it's not always like this. But so when we're talking about like, maybe like bucket lists and, just do it now and, don't wait kind of thing. Are there things in the porn industry that you want to do? Like a fetish thing or something that you haven't quite, not anal so much, but just something other aspect that you haven't quite delved into that you're like, eventually I want to do this?
That's a great question. I think I would love to do a scene like somewhere in Europe, like maybe in like, over the water where it's like crystal clear, like tropical vacation, like Bahama, somewhere like Bora Bora, or, maybe, I know that wasn't in Europe, but somewhere just outside of the United States, I think would be somewhere just, like it would be a very cool experience. Because I know, especially, there are certain countries where nudity really isn't as frowned upon as it is in the United States. So it's like, even just doing like a photo shoot naked, like out in like this like old villa or somewhere, I don't know, like it'd be cool to like explore places outside of the United States, because I have never been outside the United States before. So I think I'd love to travel and make content all over the world. That's definitely a bucket list thing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that sounds beautiful. I start when you're talking about a bit like doing a new photo shoot in a villa. I start thinking even if you start doing even like some dance poses in that villa, and that's what's getting captured.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, I can totally see you doing that. I'm picturing it in my head right now.
You're making me excited.
Yeah, that's the photographer in me coming out. I could see this. I need to find a way to You need to find a way to get to Europe.
Right. Book a fucking ticket now.
Well, that's, I think, something else I'm thinking about, like with your dance background and with all the adult work. Do you have like and you're really getting good at acting as well? Do you have any kind of a music background? Do you sing or did you play an instrument at any point or any of that kind of thing? Or like?
Yes, I was a choir kid in middle school. I played the piano for a little bit when I was a kid. Nothing crazy. I kind of know a little bit still, like the scale and everything. And I think like music theory, I'm pretty. I won't say that I'm knowledgeable in music theory, but like I understand it, and like, you know, from all my years in choir. And I think my piano teacher told me that I had an ear. Like, I don't think I have perfect pitch, but like if I hear a note, like I would hear a song on the radio and then I could come home and play it on the piano. Like I would find the right notes and I'd be able to like figure out how to play the same melody. So I think like I've always just been in love with music, and I don't think I can sing. Like I'm not horrible, but I'm not like Ariana Grande, you know, like Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston status. Like I can carry a tune okay. Like it's but I think I'd like to go to like a karaoke night or something, you know, where I could go and sing, and because I do miss being on stage and like singing and dancing. Like we were a show choir, like we would go and compete, and like those were some of my really good memories too in middle school, like being in choir and like doing all the rehearsals and everything. Like it's really fun to, like, I think, yeah, like singing, dancing, acting are like my three big passions, I think. Yeah.
Well, that sounds like, I keep thinking in the future that there's going to be like, not that you're going to necessarily go on tour, but like some sort of concept that brings all these passions that you have together, you know, with your dancing and acting and music. And then you already have a fan base based on what you've been doing with the adult work. So that kind of carries people. They'll show up if they know you're coming to town, as long as they know exactly what they're going to be getting, which would be not adult things. It could be, here's my artistic side that maybe has a sexy ass part to it because of the dance routines or things that you choreograph, and then meeting fans afterward and all that. Because another guest I think was talking about something similar. That was their dream. It's like, because they're a musician in porn, and she's like, I would love to be able to find some other musicians and actually like do like a West Coast tour or something, and actually play songs, and based on what we're kind of known for, maybe kind of have some tongue-in-cheek stuff at times. And, but I could totally see that with such a background like that.
Oh, sweet, thank you.
And again, kind of last call if anybody's got any questions or comments you want to put in there. Ove keeps he's very excited about if you decide to come to Europe, since that's where he's at.
Be ready.
Yeah, and saying that you're a gal of many talents as well. Always saying that.
Aww.
So
shucks.
And I think I saw somewhere, and correct me if I'm wrong, that are you 420 friendly?
Oh yes,
Okay.
very much so.
So since I have nothing against that. I voted for it here in Washington State when it was, you know, being made legal. Is there anybody out there that's like doing their brand of weed, you know, like in adult or music, or I don't know about athletes? There's CBD stuff, of course, but what about actual weed?
You know, that I don't think so. There might be people that are like the faces of the brand. Like I know Jeter's has like, they will like send products to girls for them to promote it. Okay. Or like, you know, they'll be like an ambassador of the brand. Like I'm sure Snoop Dogg is like an ambassador of some, you know, weed brand or something. But I don't know if any like adult performer or just a performer in general has made, I don't think so. That'd be, you know, like Laney Grey weed kind of thing. That'd be cool. I'd be down to make a strain.
Yeah.
Makes you horny.
But yeah, you can have that idea for free. Just
well, shit, you know. if it ever happens, I'm gonna have to. I'll be like, thank you, Mark. I got to shout out Mark. He gave me that idea. Thank you, man.
Yeah, back on April 11th when I was talking to this bald Asian guy who came up in his interview about it. But I don't know. There's some piece of my brain, even though I don't consider myself much of a businessman, that I think there's a lot of potential there. That how come somebody hasn't jumped on this yet?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of hoops and loops that California will make you go through to make a product, but I feel like I could hire people to help me with that.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe like what some bands do, they have to start something over in Europe where it's easier to do it. And then once it gets successful there, then they bring it back to the US because it's like, hey, here, look, it worked. Here's our business model. It worked in Europe. Why can't it work here in the US?
That's a good tactic.
Yeah. And then you can do your photo shoot in villas and you can incorporate all this stuff and you can have some weed going on at the same You'll be the multimedia queen. You'll have all this going on.
Yes. I am an entrepreneur.
Awesome. Well, let's see if that happens. I'll keep my fingers crossed for you.
Thank you.
Well, Laney, thank you so much for taking the time today. It was such a pleasure talking with you and getting to know you better. And you have such a great energy, and like the fans are saying, you're so very genuine and very real. And there's not like a trace of attitude to you or anything. It truly was a pleasure. I'd have you back in a second to do a part 2.
Thank you so much. I had a wonderful time. You're a great conversationalist. I appreciate you letting me ramble for an hour and a half.
No, I appreciate that you took the time because if the guest has the time, I always want to take advantage of that as well. So I'm so glad that you were enjoying the conversation, and I'm always saying make sure that I tell her that she's very, very beautiful. So I just said that. So.
Oh, thank you. So sweet.
But yeah, and I've said this in almost every live stream because I mean it, that I do love it when guests come back. So maybe after some months have passed and some other things are under your belt or what have you, I'll reach out to your publicist and we can see if we can get another thing together if you're open to that. And we'll see where we are with the weed brand of Laney Grey and all that. Well, again, thank you so much, Laney, and everybody in the chat. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate your support and tuning in with us today, this afternoon. And make sure that you like the video and go follow Laney on all of her social media platforms and all of her other pay platforms. And I actually can't link those because then I get in trouble. I found out.
Motherfucker.
But you can all do an internet search. You know how to find things. It's not that hard. But again, Laney, thank you so much for taking. Thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day down there.
Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time as well. I appreciate it. And thank you everyone for tuning in. I had a wonderful time. I can't wait to see you again.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.